to a brand new edition of Local Focus. We are in the middle of hoops season, district play, finally here. Be sure to log on to our website, ProViewNetworks.com, see where we're at this week as district play gets underway. Hot and heavy. We're turning the corner on the important part of the season. That's always when things get good. Districts are up for grabs. Seeding and selection starts becoming so important in those district matchups. So check out that schedule to see where we're at. We're all over the place. We got a bunch of pretty competitive districts across the city. Of course, there's that District 1 that's always powerful. But, those other districts, too, there's a little bit of movement, a little bit of realignment. So it's definitely interesting to see how things will shake out. That's for sure. Last week, got a chance to check out some non-high school hoops. The grind session was in town, and that's always fun. Highlight of the event, I'm sure locally, was Bella Hines getting her 3,000 career points. But I wanted to catch up with one of the fine young guards playing for ABC Prep, and that's Brandon Mason Jr. Welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you, man. First of all, what are you drinking and eating? Because every time I see you, you grow like another inch. So
Man,
what's going on?
Shoot, I sleep a lot in a glass of milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all it is, huh?
Yeah.
Sleep and milk. Because I remember when you were just a little tag-along with Pops, and now, how tall are you now?
I'm 6'5", 6'6".
Man, that certainly helps recruiting, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to all that recruiting in a second. But I do want to talk a little bit about ABC Prep, if that's okay. Let you be the ambassador for a minute here, right? Mm-hmm. So big event over the weekend in town. Just talk about that a little bit.
It's always really good to bring in that high-level competition in town, to show New Mexico what we're playing in, getting to see all the different type of competition that we play against and all the college athletes that would be going next year. It's a pretty good scout.
And for those that don't know, you guys are absolute just road warriors playing on that grind session. You guys are pretty much out every weekend. Yeah. So as a player, it's got to be nice when one weekend you just sleep in your own bed and they're all here, right?
Yeah.
And, the crowds have kind of grown a little bit too because, obviously for those that don't know who you're, like you said, who you're playing and things, this is a good chance to kind of check that out and see some really high-level dudes. Some dudes that you're going to see in college, at the pros, it's definitely a little different. And so the crowds have grown, haven't they?
Oh, definitely, yeah. They definitely have.
And you have a unique perspective, too, because you've kind of been there from the very beginning of ABC, right, to what it's grown to now. Just talk about that, from what it was at the beginning to what it is now.
Always just growing up around that high-level basketball since my dad was a coach for college. And then when I got to that 7th grade, 8th grade level, playing with Marcus Wilson, Dylan Chavez, always in practice, seeing them going at it with those other high-level players is just kind of got me ready for when it was my turn,
And I think what's always fun about when the grind session is in town, there's one thing we know we're never going to have on the New Mexico roster, and that's a 7-footer, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so you see these other teams, you see whether it's AZ Compass or you see a Dream City or whatever the team is, Prolific comes to mind, right? You see them when they get out the bus and they walk into the building at Bosque or at Manal, you're like, okay, we don't have that.
Yeah, ducking under the doors, all of that, yeah.
But I think what has been cool for me to watch is what we do have is guards that can compete. Mm-hmm. Those games show that New Mexico guards can play. We're not going to have the 7-footer, but we have the guards that can play, right? Talk about that.
Most definitely. We don't have too much crazy size out here, but we have a lot of small guards that love to compete. Can always get a bucket, put it up with quickness. Everybody got their own touch and feel for the game, so it's just can spread the floor a lot easier.
And so, are you guys one of those teams on the grind session that I would imagine one of the few teams that doesn't have a big, right?
Yeah.
So how does that change the way you guys play?
Definitely change. We play at a very fast pace, kick the ball, drive and kick. A lot of threes are going up, so it's just a lot of opportunities for everybody else. We don't have just one big sitting there clogging up the paint. We like to really spread the floor and get the ball moving.
And I'm sure as a guard, that's a great system for you to play, and you got to love it, right?
Oh, definitely, I do.
But it's got to be one of the. Every team that comes in here, there's one, there's two, there's three. You get in your mind, or you're thinking how come we don't have just one?
I know they got a backup for the backup,
right?
Yeah.
But it is really. If you haven't had a chance to check it out when the grind session's in Albuquerque, I really encourage you to do that. Are you guys? I know you're hitting the road soon, right? But when will we have another chance to see some teams come into Albuquerque?
Definitely coming up real soon. Around, I'm pretty sure it's the 14th of next month. You got the EIBC coming to
Okay.
the
So
Albuquerque.
what are some teams that we might see for that? Do you have any idea yet or not yet?
I know we will see a lot of Canadian teams are definitely playing the grind session, and they got some Utah Prep. Just I know like Bella Vista, so those type of teams. Yeah.
Right, right. And the competition in those is usually pretty good. Like you're going to see. I remember there was a big. I mean, the last time when they thought Jovan was coming to town, right? That was a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's. I highly encourage you to get out if you haven't checked it out, the product yet. But what about just like, for those that don't know, the facilities in Old Town, right? But like, you were there with your dad when he first started this. But what it is now, like, you guys have. Well, first, how many teams are there? There's a post grad team.
There's the post grad, the national, our black team, and then we also have our girls team, and then 2 middle school teams.
Right. And so, I mean, there's always, like, it wasn't like that at the beginning, right? Like,
It was
now
just one.
There's just one, right?
Yeah.
And so now, there's always something going on when you drive by that building, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, it's a little basketball empire over there. How many hours are you in that building, man?
Shoot, I always try to get in there early. We always start at like 8 a.m. and then finish practice around 1, and then I always try to get back in at nighttime.
Right.
So.
What talk to me about the guys on your team that you play with. For those that don't know, like what are some of those guys? What's your squad look like?
Well, we have Christian Gilliland on our team.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy. He's been on the show.
Definitely, yeah. He's super athletic. He's been averaging maybe 30 points a game. Gets to the basket, floater. We have Colin Jones, GB, and then some two young guys, Darius and Caden Miller. He's a really good shooter.
Yeah, he can shoot. Funny story about Christian. When he did the show, he was kind of nursing an ankle a little bit. We wanted him to try, because the guy, if you haven't seen, the guy is probably the premier dunk artist in the state. I think that's fair, right? Like the best dunker.
Definitely.
Sorry if anyone else takes offense to that. Just deal with it. It's the truth, right? So when he was here last year, I wanted him to jump over me in the hallway out here.
Oh yeah.
And we were going to film that, but he was nursing an ankle, so we didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, unhuman-like hops on that kid, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Like, how does that even happen? And I tried to ask him about all the secrets, like the leg workouts and everything.
Yeah.
But then he was like, and sometimes it's just genetics. Like,
That's
right?
honestly,
But
yeah.
I mean, the guy can jump through the roof, right?
Completely. He has like a 40, 50-inch vert. It's insane.
What you guys ever dunk off anything like that?
Oh, definitely. We do it a lot after practice.
Oh, yeah.
We just after practice and we throw up the ball, see who can do the best one. And then we recently had the ABC Showdown, where we had the dunk contest. He definitely won with a crazy dunk. So yeah.
I wasn't surprised. I was out of town, but I wasn't surprised when I saw the video on social. Right, I was like, well, okay, everyone's playing for second, so we knew that, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever, as a younger guy, you ever like be like, hey, what are you doing leg work? Take me with you on leg day.
I've
like,
tried
what's he
asking
doing?
him. Man, he really didn't say. It's not too much working out. He played football before, so it was just building up to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And talk about that facility. That facility has everything you need, right? Like what do you do there?
Definitely, we have a lot of weights. We have strength coaches, Coach Ben Miller that lifts the boys, Coach Christina that be doing the girls, and then we have shooting guns. You can get in there when you want, and you just got your own rebounder. You got turf in the back, working on a lot of things.
Right. I want to talk about specifically what you've been doing, because the offers have been piling in. Your game has developed like crazy over the last couple of years. So we'll take our first break, and we'll be back with Brandon and talk about his development after this.
Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
All right, we're back with Brandon Mason Jr. of ABC Prep. We were talking a little bit about ABC before the break, but I really want to get into your development because the offers are flying in, man. And so just take us back a little bit. Let's say you're a sophomore now, so let's take us back a couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. When you're starting kind of this ABC journey. When you look back at those times now, what kind of work have you put in? What has improved so much?
It always was just repetition and always trying to be in the gym, I would say my game definitely started to skyrocket when I was working out with Tennessee Owens, He's now a coach at Southern Utah, so I would always put in a lot of hours with him, multiple days in the week, just getting in with him, trying to get better.
So let me do this. Let's give you a chance to write your own scouting report. If you were writing a scouting report on 8th grade B. Mace Jr., what would that scouting report have said? What would it have said for strengths? What would it have said for weaknesses?
I would say for strengths, 8th grade, elite shooter, could get downhill, rebounds, and blocks a lot of shots, and definitely can make a play, pass out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the needs work on that scouting report your 8th grade year?
Everything defensively,
Okay.
just trying to get down low, keep the person in front of me,
Right.
things like that.
And what about if you're writing that scouting report right now?
It would just say a lot. It would say a lot, He got a good shot, mid-range pull up, get to the basket, finish against some big guys, still rebounds a lot more, block some good shots, pass the ball out, make everybody else look good on the court.
Okay, all right, I like it. And what does the scouting report say for needs improvement still?
Just strength-wise, trying to get put on some more weight, because the defense is coming better. I've been putting a lot of work into that with Coach Michael Murphy. He's been pushing me a lot. So,
right.
Yeah.
What about, you hit this growth spurt, right? Mm-hmm. So now obviously you said, now that you're at that height, that kind of makes you a much more versatile player, right?
Right.
But I think it also means okay, at that height, now you got to probably be able to guard the 1 through 4 on the court, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that. I mean, how is that different? If you're guarding the 1, that's different than guarding the 4. Mm-hmm. So talk about what that looks like defensively. What you got to do there when you're guarding different positions.
True, definitely. When you go from guarding the 1, you have to stay low. Always try to keep them in front of you because they're gonna be quick little guards. And then definitely going to the 4. They're a little bit bigger, not as fast, so you could, get a little back on them, keep a hand up. So it just change the pace, really.
And you talked about just gaining some strength. What would you like your playing weight to be? How much muscle would you like to put on? Do you have a goal for that yet, or what's that? I know you talked about Dylan Chavez a lot,
yeah.
Right? I ran into Dylan just a couple of weeks ago at the barbershop, and we were talking about just that.
Yeah.
The Lobos want him in a certain way, and he's almost there, and you can tell.
Yeah.
He looks much bigger, right? So
really
do you have
does.
a target number in mind of what you'd like to put on?
Shoot. Me and my dad, we was talking. I'm trying to get to at least 180 before going to college. I've been putting in a lot of work, drinking a lot of protein shakes, getting in the gym with athletes ready. They've been doing a lot with my body and stuff. Right. So, yeah.
What are they doing for you?
Just a lot of they're working on every movements that you're not working on in a regular gym, mobility, strength, working on really controlling your body weight.
Right.
Yeah.
I really wanted to ask you about recovery because with as much travel as you guys do,
yeah,
I'm sure, and this is something that I don't think a lot of athletes have in their skill set initially, is an official recovery routine. What does recovery look like for you guys?
For us, we always really take a day off. We come back on Sundays or Mondays and really just take care of our bodies, stay home, do ice baths, anything you really could. So for me, it's different. I go to this, one of my guys, his name is Eric. Sorry, I'm forgetting his business name, but he does red light therapy, cupping. He does a lot of things for my body. So it's just.
So you have you're comfortable with your recovery routine.
Yeah. Definitely.
And when did you realize that was important? Because I'm sure you weren't, as an 8th grader, you weren't thinking recovery. You're oh, the game's over? Sweet, let's go to McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what you were thinking back then. But now when it gets more serious, when did you realize, okay, recovery matters?
Definitely when I was, growing, I was going through a lot of growing pains, in my knee, the jumping pain and all of that. And I just realized, you got to take care of yourself if I want to do this on the long run, if I want to do this and stay in the league for a long time. It's just important to take care of your body.
And are you guys doing the cryo? Are you doing the sleeves? Are you doing all that? What do you?
Oh yeah, my dad had bought me my own the pressure boots.
Right.
I try to use those as much as I can.
When you read about or hear about guys like LeBron spending $1 million a year just on their basketball body, what does that tell you as a young aspiring player?
That staying healthy is the most important thing. When you have small injuries, we want to like take care of it right away. You don't want to still play on it and be like, oh no, I'm okay. Like it's smart. You know, if you got to sit out, you got to sit out. Like your body's the most important thing.
And then at the other part of that too is like the travel part. Like I don't think people realize, you know, it sucks to get on an airplane after playing a lot of games, right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Talk about that. Like, just what does the body feel like when you hit that elevation in an airplane after playing a weekend of 6-7 games?
Definitely after the weekends, you know, you got to get in a little small seating area, and especially since I've gotten a lot taller, it kind of sucks in an airport, in the airplane. You know, it's just, all you can think is just, I can't wait to get off this plane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What else do you think has been keys to your development over the last couple of years?
Keys to my development, I'd really say just putting in work, you know, always just, you got to keep going and going. You know, you still got to take some days off, but you don't take too many days off.
Right.
You got to always keep going, stay in the gym. I'm always in the gym with Coach Darius Gary, you know, former Lobo player,
right.
legend, and he stays in the gym with me. I just called him before this to get in the gym tonight since we leave this weekend. So.
And what is that, you know, you always hear everyone say do the work, right? But from a structured standpoint, like what does that look like, right? Take us through what that gym time looks like, because obviously you're not just going in there to jack around for 2 hours, right? Like
right.
I'm imagining you have a pretty detailed plan of what you're trying to accomplish, right?
You know, it's not always trying to stay in the gym for hours, you know. It's doing what you're doing in the gym, but game speed and getting it like how you would do in game, like, and just really you could take like some breaks, but if you could really get what you need to get done within like a span of like an hour.
Right.
So.
And is there days where you're just doing, like, let's say you're just doing shooting stuff, or is there days where you try to mix shooting in with everything else, with all your cuts, with all everything else, whatever other drills Darius has you going through, or do you try to separate those? How does that look?
Well, definitely, you know, I always have to put shooting in my workouts. So whatever it is, if it's ball handling, you know, we'll put in ball handling with finishing and shooting. So, yeah.
What about, you mentioned Coach Gary. I would imagine just him as a player, how many times a week does he call you guys soft and want you guys to get tougher? Because that was such a big part of his game.
Yeah.
Like, does he ever work on just the toughness aspect of the game, both mental and physical? Because he was a dog. Does he ever work on that with you guys? And what does he do?
A lot of yelling. A lot of yelling. He drills it into your head, you know, to make sure that you're just a dog. Yeah.
Right. And what do you think? Has it resonated with you? Has it made an impact?
I definitely say
so. Or are you
so.
like, oh, what is this old man talking about?
I've heard it more than enough to just understand that's what I need to do. Just be a dog.
All right, we'll take another break here. When we come back, we want to talk about all those offers that have been coming in and kind of what's next. How do you start piling through those offers, separating them, taking visits, all that fun stuff? We'll talk about that when we get back.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of Pro V Sports.
We're back with Brandon Mason Jr. All right, let's do a top 5 list before we forget it. Something we do on the program here. Top 5 things that we do not know about you. Number 5.
Number 5 is I love fishing. I love being like outdoors, you know, fishing with my uncle. We used to do it a lot when I was young, but gotten into a lot of traveling and haven't been able to keep up with it.
So like, are we talking like real fishing or like Tingley Beach?
We'll do like
real places?
Yeah, we'll do like Tingley Beach, like, you know, with my little brothers and stuff. But we would like go to like Red River and like try to go out to like places like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good. Number 4.
Number 4, I like video games. You know, I be playing a lot of video games on my off time.
Okay. What video games?
Right now, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, just
Okay.
a lot of Fortnite. I try to stay on the 2K. Yeah,
All right, who's the best over at ABC when it comes to Fortnite?
me.
Okay, who's the second best?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Well, who do you play the most?
I play with Caden Miller a lot.
Okay.
Caden Miller, yeah. I'd say he's definitely second best.
All right,
yeah.
okay. Now, is it? I'm not a Fortnite guy. I have played 2K, but
Yeah.
is it true that like Fortnite's one of those things where you just start playing it, next thing you know, it's 4 a.m?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much for that sleep and recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
So you're a gamer. Fortnite at the top of the list. All right. Number 3.
Number 3, I'm a super religious man. I try to always stay on top of reading my Bible. I got to do better at that, but I'm always out of town. I got to get back into getting in church, but I always try to put God first.
Okay. Is that just something that you kind of do to stay grounded, or is that something that's important to your family, or where did that come from?
It was definitely something important to my family. We grew up, even when I was super little, we went to church every Sunday for like the service for like a couple of hours. So
Okay,
it was just something I grew up in.
Number 2.
Number 2, I say I'm a super like love hanging out with my family. We play a lot of board games. When after dinner we play a lot of Monopoly, like Uno and stuff. So
All right. Back to the church thing. I was gonna say I just can't let this go without clowning on your dad for just 1 second. It would make sense that you guys go to church a lot because your dad dresses like church Sunday every day of the week.
he
right?
just every day of the week.
So every day of the
always
week
does.
is his outfit is church ready every day of the week. I mean, I've only seen your dad at the gym. I can only imagine what he's wearing to church on Sundays.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Even for games, in the grind session, you got the dress pants,
Yeah.
dress shoes, the tie, and the button up, everything. He goes all out.
The red loafers.
Yeah.
I remember when I had a buddy who was at ABC, and I was pretty close friends with his parents. Every time we saw Brandon on TV, I would joke with him. I'm like, "Hey, you paid for those pants. You paid for those."
She paid for those, yeah. Yeah.
The man can dress. The man can dress. All right, what number were we on? Number 2, right?
I think so. We either
right.
number 2 or number 1.
One more then. Yeah, you're right. One more. What's the number 1 thing we don't know about Brandon Mason Jr.?
Number 1 thing I would say, I really love animals,
Okay.
I'm super dog guy. We have 2 pets, Mimi and Mace, a boxer and a French bulldog, and I really love my pets.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So like when you're traveling, when you get home, first thing you do is say hi to the pets, probably.
First thing they do is say hi to me.
All right.
Coming through the front door, they hear the keys jingle and the garage door open. They're already at the door waiting for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That was a very good top 5. The offers just started coming in like hot and heavy, man. Like, okay, tell me about the first one because everyone remembers that first offer. So tell me about that.
Definitely, my first offer was from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Real love for the coach over there. Marvin Menzies. That's family, definitely.
All right. So once that first one comes in, then you kind of like, okay, got that out of the way. Now I got to make sure this keeps happening, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like almost like that's when the work begins, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me about the next couple that kind of came in.
The next couple that came in was from Arkansas Little Rock, Coach Preston, who is now at New Mexico State. But that one definitely came in maybe like a couple weeks after. And then I got one from CSUN and from Southern Utah. Yeah. Okay.
So what will this process look like for you to, because obviously you're still young, you're just a sophomore. Mm-hmm. What will this process look like for you to continue to kind of weed through these, make a short list? What visits will you go on? What are the next steps, you think?
I try to leave all this up to my father. He takes all that pressure off of me, and I just leave that all up to him.
What about, got to have like a couple of dream schools in your mind though, right? Like everybody has those. Right?
Yeah.
So what are they?
My top 3 schools I would say is Kansas, Gonzaga, and Duke.
Okay.
Those are my
Can
top
we
3 schools.
edit that out so we'll just put a voiceover so one of those is UCLA? Just replace one. Our director will replace one of those. All right, so that's the Blue Bloods, right? I mean, Duke, Kansas. I mean, that's a list, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to ask you about. It's just crazy now with with the Diego Pavia thing that just happened with the JUCO, right? So JUCO doesn't count against your years. Plus NIL now, like it has totally changed everything, right?
Yeah.
So how do all those things go into your decision or any athlete's decision?
You know, I think a main thing athletes should look at when they're trying to commit to a college is, you know, is this the right fit for me? Am I going to be playing? Is this where, you know, like I'm going to be needed a lot, you know? And definitely the atmosphere, if you really love like where you're going to be staying at for the next couple years or the year, you know, make sure you got a good college campus and everything. So, yeah.
Okay, so that was a great answer. But then there's the show me the money part too. Like this is real. Like I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you get away with that. Like that has to be part of it, right? I mean,
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'd say that's
because there's a
pretty big
chance for
part.
you to set yourself and even maybe your family up financially, right? Nothing is guaranteed, especially in sports. You know that,
Right.
Right. So like the money part of it has to play a role, right?
Yeah, I definitely say so because, you know, for example, you had AJ DeBansa, you know, he could have gone wherever he wanted, but BYU offered him $7.1 million and chose to go there. So
Right.
That I'd say definitely NIL is a big
Like
thing
I mean,
too.
like if I'm a player, and granted, you know, I'm like I have a different perspective on this as a media person and an old fat guy, but like if I'm a player. If a coach wants to pay me $3 million, I don't care if he's playing me.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's MFing me every day at practice. Like that money matters, right?
It does. It really does. You know, especially from, you know, where you came from. If you came from just like if you're super money hungry, it just depends on what type of person you are.
Now you have a unique kind of support system because your dad, having coached at these levels, right? He's gonna really be able to sort through this. Like talk about that and just how he's able to help.
He's definitely helping a lot, you know, because he's had that college experience. You know, he coached 10 years. He's coached all levels. He's been through high school, middle school, college, UNM, all the way to UNLV, to Highlands. You know, it was just he got that experience and knows what I need to do to get to that level.
But I'm sure it also places a tremendous chip on your shoulder and a burden on you because I know as an athlete you're probably like thinking like, okay, like do they want me? Are they impressed with me? Or are they doing this for pops or do they want me on campus, right? Like I'm sure it puts even more pressure and motivation on you, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. You know, I always try to, every chance I get when there's college coaches at games, when they come and watch me, I always make sure I put on a show to show that what I can really do and to understand, like, you're going to need me.
And when do you think you'll start to dwindle down a list? And when do you anticipate making a decision? I know it's still a ways. I mean, you're a
Yeah.
youngin', but they're coming. They're coming fast.
I'd say, like, towards my end, like, of junior year, you know, senior year rolling in, I still got a lot of time to come in, you know. We just got the waiting game right now.
Right, that's
Yeah.
a good place to be in to have those
Yeah.
offers rolling in as a sophomore. Well, B. Mace, thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, and thank you, everybody, for watching, and good night.